A lively opening ceremony to a full house set the scene of the 2010 IBSA World Blind Football Championships in Hereford, England. For the next week, this will be home to the best blind footballers on the planet. The opening ceremony did the players and the teams proud. There are no official rankings, but 4 years ago it was Argentina who were crowned as world champions ahead of Brazil. But since then the Paralympics have taken place, in which Brazil came out top. Spain were the highest placed Europeans last time at 4th, with England at 6th. And it's these two nations who met in the opening match in Group A. The other teams in Group A are Colombia, South Korea and Japan. But this England and Spain encounter was expected to be the toughest in the Group A matches. For England then, the burden of expectation. They finished as runners-up in the Euros in 2009, so this game against Spain was vital for both teams. They should both make the semis, and a win in the opening fixture should mean an easier semi-final draw. It was a nervous opening for both teams, and as the whistle blew, the heavens opened, making conditions very tricky for the players. Spain demonstrated their skill straight away, with excellent dribbling and a close attempt on goal. This showed the crowd what a tough opponent the home team were facing. John Gribbin, picked as the man to watch for the home team, showed some fantastic footwork as the England team pushed forward in the first half. The England defence worked hard to keep Spain out and even created an opportunity from the back. The Spanish fought hard for that elusive opening and really made Dan James sweat in the England goal. As the clock ticked towards half-time, the players upped their games, desperately fighting for that first goal. But both the English and Spanish defences also worked hard to keep the scoreline 0-0. So into the second half, and Spain took control and continued with some great attempts on goal, trying to break down the strong England defence. The England keeper Dan James produced two magnificent penalty saves to keep the scoreline at 0-0, but Spain kept pushing forward. It was going to take some real magic for either side to break the stalemate, and it came with just 8 seconds to go from Spain's Alfredo Cudredo, ending the game England 0, Spain 1.
It's very important. Always a goal is important, but in the last second is very safety.
It's been obviously a disappointing result for us in the sense that it was about 8 seconds to go. It was quite nerve-wracking for some of the players. They wanted to do so well, and we didn't relax enough on the ball. But it's a fantastic occasion. This next 8 days is really going to raise the profile of blind football throughout the UK.
So day one is over, and despite challenging conditions, there was much skill demonstrated on the pitch. The only disappointment was the host nation was unable, despite a solid display, to take a point from the game. But there's plenty more football to come from the 2010 IBSA World Blind Football Championships.
Day 3 of the IBSA World Blind Championships 2010, and sunshine again in Hereford, England. First up, Spain and Colombia. Spain was sitting comfortably with a first match win under their belt, whereas Colombia only drew against Japan, so were desperate for that first win. Spain dominated from the start of the first half, and it wasn't long before the first goal of the day was scored by Spain's Antonio Martin. Spain kept up the pressure, and it was Martin again who clocked up the score to 2-0 in the last few minutes of the first half. The second half kicked off, and Colombia were determined to break Spain with some superb attacking play, but they couldn't get past Spain's defence, so this match ended Spain 2, Colombia 0.
Second on was Spain, who've had a superb run so far, winning both of their matches, and they were looking to make it a third victory. But their opponents, South Korea, weren't going to make this easy, as they only narrowly missed out yesterday against England. Spain dominated in the first half, and South Korea tried to contain them, but in doing so gave away fouls, leading to a penalty that Sang-won Kim saved. South Korea fought well, but it was Spain who showed flair in the second half, and then in the last minute Antonio Martin dribbled and blasted against the woodwork, but unfortunately for Sang-won Kim, the rebound saw it end in his own net. So Spain got their wish, and the match ended Spain 1, South Korea 0. So double celebrations for Martin, having just graduated from university and qualification for the semi-finals.
I'm very happy because, like in any world tournament, it's very difficult to win 3 out of 3 games, and of course it's a massive confidence boost for us. I don't know if we're mathematically qualified for the next stage, but I think we're there already.
It's day 5 at the IPSA World Blind Football Championship 2010 and the penultimate day of the group stages. Group A is beginning to look sewn up as Spain have secured a place in the semis and England are looking likely to follow, with Colombia, Japan and South Korea on level pegging. But in Group B there is all to play for between France, China, Brazil and Argentina are just hanging in there too. Today's opening match was a big clash between France and China. Both teams needed to win this one to be certain to progress. The teams looked in top form, and it wasn't long before China went ahead with an outstanding goal from Yafeng Wang. With just 5 minutes to go, France's captain Frédéric Villeroux went on the counter-attack and got the equaliser. The teams came out from the break and were both determined to win. There were some fantastic attempts from France's Villeroux and China's Zhu Bin Wang, but both keepers stepped up and no goals were scored. So a draw, France won, China won, meaning that both teams will have to wait until tomorrow to find out if they're through.
They're very exciting, and of course I can make a goal in this such a kind of big tournament. I feel really proud.
Spain were looking for their 4th win in 4 days, but Japan had shown great style in the tournament so far and were hungry for that elusive win. Japan held their own in the first half against the table-topping team, but it was a careful affair and neither team made much of an impact. In the second half, and it was Spain's Antonio Martin who managed to get a shot through the Japanese defence. Then another Spanish goal from Martin again sealed the win. So Spain have qualified for the semis with a full 12 points and a clean sheet. Final score, Spain 2, Japan 0. It's semi-finals day at the IBSA World Blind Football Championships 2010. There was a lot of media interest, including BBC Radio 5 Live's Fighting Talk, which was broadcast live from the venue.
Well, the whole atmosphere is fantastic. I mean, it was my original idea to bring the show here because I'm a patron of the blind football team and I wanted to get people involved and people aware of what the whole tournament is about.
Well, this is my first time at a blind football tournament and I had the honour of meeting the England team this morning who listened to the Fighting Talk show doing 5 Live. So it was great. With most people that listen to Fighting Talk, they're like friends when you meet them, so there was no barriers. Good chat about the show. They filled me in a lot about the game as well.
The first semi-final was between Spain, who were European champions in 2009, and China, who came second in the 2008 Paralympics. It was a nervous start to the match, and China went on the attack from the beginning, but they were unable to break down the solid Spanish defence, who hadn't conceded a goal all tournament and were resolved not to in this match as well. China's Zhu Bin Wang had a few more chances leading into half-time, only to be stopped by Alvaro Gonzalez in the goal. At the opening of the second half, China nearly went into the lead straight away due to a Spanish mistake, nearly causing an own goal, but luckily for Gonzalez, it went just wide of the post. China persisted in attack, but they were thwarted by the formidable Spanish defence, particularly Vicente Aguilar, who kept them out. China rapidly clocked up 3 fouls, and then a fourth meant a penalty for Spain. They watched with bated breath as Antonio Martin stepped up to take the penalty and put Spain into the lead. At the final whistle, the Spanish bench ran onto the pitch and started the celebrations as they're through to the final and still kept a clean sheet. China looked devastated, but respectfully thanked their opponents and the crowd as they had to settle for a place in the 3rd and 4th place playoff. Final score, Spain 1, China 0.
Firstly, we would like to congratulate Spain for their win. And secondly, this was a really tough game. Everyone played 100% and tried to relax, but we didn't have enough luck to score the winning goal.
We knew it was going to be difficult from the start, but we imposed ourselves really, really well, and I'm very happy because of the outcome and the win.
So the final match of the tournament, and an exciting lineup for the supporters as Spain took on double world champions Brazil. The Paralympic champions had shown their flair in attack, but Spain had the best defence of the tournament, so an interesting final was in store. The game kicked off and Brazil were on the attack immediately with attempts from Pedro Villa and Jefferson Gonçalves, but they both hit wide of the target. Then it was Ricardo Alves, who, when brought on as a substitute, made an immediate impact on the pitch, bursting through the Spanish defence and getting the first goal, to the disappointment of Alvaro Gonzalez, as this was the first goal he conceded all tournament. Gonzalez, with grim determination, was not going to let another goal happen, and his outstanding saves kept Brazil out. The Spanish defence, having played well all tournament, kept working hard, blocking an attack by Alves, meaning they were only 1 goal down going into the second half. After the break, both teams showed great style as they strived for the win, and when Spain's Alfredo Cuadrado committed a foul on Alves, in the spirit of the tournament he helped him to his feet. Luckily for Spain, Brazil's Severino Silva didn't convert the awarded free kick. A penalty for Spain increased the drama in the final. Antonio Martin stepped up to take it, and with a reputation of changing these into goals, the Spanish bench and the crowd watched nervously, but the occasion was too much for Martin. Then a double blow for Spain as Gonçalves drilled one past to diving Gonzalez, taking the score to 2-0 to Brazil. So the final whistle of the tournament blew and Brazil were crowned champions with the final score Spain 0, Brazil 2.